Well, Jamal Elshayyal is a senior correspondent with Al Jazeera and joins us now from Doha. Jamal, good to have you on TRT World. Thanks for being with us. Now, just initially, take us through what happened when your colleagues received that order. How did they receive it, and what happened once they got that call?
Well, what happened was that the owner of the building that the Al Jazeera offices was located was given a call by a member of the Israeli intelligence and was told that in a short time span, the Israeli military would be bombing that building. No option, no discussion, just a matter of fact that Israel had decided that it wanted to bomb a building, knowing that Israel would probably get away with bombing a building, regardless of the fact that international media outlets operated from it. And therefore, everybody had to leave that building. There was no chance to get equipment from there. There was no chance to get people's belongings. Essentially, journalists were stood helpless, watching as the place that they called home in terms of where they've been working day in, day out for many years was decimated by one of the world's most powerful militaries, which clearly shows and demonstrates its contempt for free press, for its contempt for journalism, its contempt for anybody who's trying to relay the truth of what is happening in the besieged Gaza Strip. And there was nothing that could be done about it. And this, for us, particularly at Al Jazeera, is a network that has come under attack for many, many times by the Israelis. I myself was abducted from international waters of the Mediterranean Sea in 11 years ago when I was on board the Mavi Marmara, the Turkish aid ship, going to Gaza, together with other journalists. We've had journalists who've been killed. We've had colleagues who've been imprisoned and so forth. This isn't new in the sense that we understand the contempt of regimes that are essentially the antithesis of democracy. However, the barbaric nature in which it happened today, essentially leveling a building within seconds, bringing it into rubble within seconds, that is what's so brazen and so horrific about what has taken place in Gaza.
I mean, brazen is one word to use, and if you don't mind, I'll pass what you've said, Jamal. It does seem as if you think there may have been a targeting going on here. I mean, the AP had officers in that building too, but Al Jazeera certainly did. There was a targeting, certainly an attempt to stop reporting coming out of that particular building.
I'm a firm believer that journalists have to describe and report what they see factually. What we see factually is that Israel is preventing international journalists from entering Gaza. There are dozens who have gone now, they're on the other side. It doesn't want them there. And what we see factually is that Israel has targeted journalists and killed journalists repeatedly over the years. To call this anything but a direct target at journalists, to muzzle them, to terrify them, ultimately through an action of state terrorism, is essentially failing to do our jobs as journalists if we do not call it for what it is. That is what has taken place today. That is what has taken place for many years. The difference in this current war on Gaza and the renewed attempts at ethnic cleansing inside historic Palestine is that in the globalized age we live in, where information now is available at the palm of our hand, it is so much more difficult for Israel to try and spin this in any other way. Let's take, for example, this ridiculous lie that there was somehow some sort of fighters or military commanders in that building. If there really was, would they give a warning to bomb it? No, they would bomb it straight away if there genuinely was. On top of that, there's been no evidence presented. Add to this the fact that the Associated Press, if people want to, I mean, Al Jazeera is an award-winning network. We have won Emmys, we have won every single global award you can think of for journalism. Al Jazeera has won it. We abide by Ofcom regulations in the UK. But if people want to doubt our credibility, let me ask this. The Associated Press, which is owned by the US, the AP, which is one of the most renowned news agencies in the world, would they really be in the same building as so-called Hamas commanders? Let's use our logic here. Let's not allow for Israel to continue essentially pulling the wool over people's eyes. Let's call things for what they are. And I hope as a journalist, the international community will start holding criminals to account, criminals who target journalists, who want to kill journalists, and who want to kill off freedom of speech.
Yeah, and if there were people there from Hamas, why a 60-minute warning would have been given, it defies credibility. Okay, Jamal Elshayyal from Al Jazeera, I do appreciate you being with us here on TRT World.